All right, whenever you're ready, Tony. So the first thing we always like to do is our land acknowledgement. McMaster University recognizes and acknowledges that it is located on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee nations and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. So the tri-agency consists of 3 agencies, which are CIHR, NSERC, and SSHRC. So CIHR is the Canadian Institute of Health Research, NSERC Natural Sciences and Engineering Council, and Social Sciences and Humanities Research. We have quotas for the Canada Graduate Scholarships Master's Program, and there are 38 for CIHR, 26 for NSERC, and 33 for SSHRC. Next slide, Tony. Thank you. Value of the CGS-M is $17,500. It is a 12-month award, and the award is non-renewable. Students must, eligible students must complete, sorry, I'm just trying to manage a poll here. I'm missing half the slide. Eligible students must complete and submit their applications in the tri-agency portal by 8 p.m. on December 1st. This is a firm deadline. It is a tri-agency deadline. We have no control over it. So when 8 o'clock comes, that portal is closed. The results will be available in the research portal on April 1st of 2024. Students will have 21 days from the date of offer to accept the award. If you do not accept the award within 21 days, the status of the award automatically changes to declined and it cannot be reversed. Eligibility for the award. For the CGS-M, you must be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident of Canada. You must have completed as of December 31st, 2023, between 0 and 12 months of full-time graduate studies. You must have achieved a first-class average in each of the last 2 completed years of study, full-time study. So if you're coming directly into your master's in 2024, you would use your 21, 22, and 22, 23 marks. If not, if there's a year or a bit of time between, you use your most recent years, 2 years. Your fall 23 marks are not included in eligibility. At McMaster, a first class average is 10 or an A- or an 80%. You must not have previously held a CGS-M, and you can submit a maximum of 1 scholarship application per academic year to either CIHR, NSERC, or SSHRC. Equity, diversity, and inclusion. The tri-agency is acting on evidence that achieving a more equitable, diverse, and inclusive Canadian research enterprise is essential to creating the excellent, innovative, and impactful research necessary to advance knowledge and understanding and to respond to local, national, and global challenges. With these goals in mind, supporting equitable access to funding opportunities for all members of the research community, promoting the integration of equity, diversity, and inclusion-related considerations in research design and practices, increasing equitable and inclusive participation in the research system, including on research teams, collecting the data and conducting the analyses needed to include equity, diversity, and inclusion considerations in decision-making. Through these means, the agency will work with those involved in the research system to develop the inclusive culture needed for research excellence and to achieve outcomes that are rigorous, relevant, and accessible to diverse populations. Self-identification. Self-identification data collection in support of equity, diversity, and inclusion. It is mandatory to complete the self-identification form found in the personal profile of the research portal. If you do not want to self-identify, you have the option to choose "I prefer not to answer" for each question. Self-identification information is not a part of your application and will not be accessible to the reviewers. This data provides information on the diversity of the population applying for and receiving agency funds. The information increases the agency's capacity to monitor their progress on increasing equity, diversity, and inclusion in their programs, to recognize and remove barriers, and to design new measures to achieve greater EDI in the research enterprise. Indigenous Scholar Awards Pilot Program. The Indigenous Scholars Awards and Supplements Pilot Initiative is for NSERC and SSHRC only. This pilot initiative provides financial support to Indigenous scholars who are meritorious in the CGS-M program. It consists of a one-year non-renewable supplement valued at $5,000 for all meritorious Indigenous CGS-M recipients. It is subject to the limit of available funding. If you self-identify as Indigenous, you are eligible to apply for this initiative. To be considered for this funding opportunity, you must select the Indigenous Scholars Award and Supplements Pilot Initiative option from the drop-down menu, indicate your agreement with the self-identification and consent statement by selecting the appropriate checkbox, and complete the personal statement, which is 3,000 character max. The Black student researchers. The Government of Canada has deployed additional funds to increase direct support for Black student researchers. CGS-M applicants who self-identify as Black and provide consent to be considered for funds targeted towards specific groups may be selected to receive this funding. Excuse me. Each agency has a limited number of additional CGS-M awards reserved for this initiative. For more information, consult the frequently asked questions about the new Black Scholars funding. Agencies or special circumstances, there's been some changes, so this is just a little bit different than in past years. The agencies require institutions and reviewers to take into consideration special circumstances that may have affected your research, professional career, record of academic or research achievement, or completion of degree. Relevant circumstances might include administrative responsibilities, maternity or paternal leave, excuse me, or parental leave, child rearing, illness, disability, cultural or community responsibilities, socioeconomic context, trauma and loss, family responsibilities, or a pandemic. If you answer yes in your application to having special circumstances, you will be required to complete a text field with a 5,000 character maximum. And Tony, I'll pass it off to you.
Thanks, Diane. The next slide is about program of study eligibility. So an eligible graduate program must include a significant research component that leads to the completion of a thesis, major research project, dissertation, scholarly publication, performance, recital, and/or exhibit that is merit expert reviewed at the institutional level as a requirement for completion of the program. So if you're in a joint program with a professional degree, that's, for example, the MD, PhD, and all the other joint programs, as well as clinically oriented programs of study, including clinical psychology, are eligible if they have a significant autonomous research component as described in the last slide. Master's programs that are course-based are not typically eligible for this award because they don't include a significant research component. The selection criteria for CGS-M is academic excellence is 50%, research potential 30%, personal characteristics and interpersonal skills is 20%. So basically, the application overview. So what's included in the application is the actual application form, which is online, which you complete online, and then the outline of the proposed research and the bibliography and citations. So that's 2 pages. So one page is the outline of proposed research and one page is the bibliography. So we've seen some students who actually since it's 2 pages and their bibliography is only half a page, they'll extend their proposed research onto the second page. So we will remove that second page because the rules are just 1 page for the research proposal. So just so you know, it will get removed. So please just use 1 page for your research proposal. We also need official transcripts. Students are required to include all official transcripts, undergraduate and graduate. McMaster's transcripts from this fall are required. So even if you don't have any grades, because we need to confirm your registration in a program to show that you're in graduate school, just so include your McMaster transcript and include one legend for each transcript. As well, there's the CGS-M Canadian Commons CV, and you access that when you are in your online application. You need 2 reference assessments. You can't submit. So let's say you have your whole application done except for your reference assessments. You can't submit it until they're submitted, so until your referees submit the letters. So please make sure I'll talk about it more later, but please make sure that your referees are aware. The online research portal is hosted by INSERC, although all 3 agencies are part of it. We've included a link here. So this presentation will be on the website, so you can access this link there. We suggest you read all instructions prior to beginning your application. Then you select up to 3 universities where you want to submit your CGS-M application. So if you're currently in your first year of your master's and going on to your second year of your master's, it's doubtful that you'll want to pick 3 universities because you more than likely are doing your second year master's here. But if you're an undergrad and you're not sure where you want to do your master's, you can pick up to 3 of them. You can't pick the same university twice. For example, if you're not sure if you want to do biochemistry as well as medical sciences, you can't do that. Just pick one, and because the application is not tied to the department. So as long as your application remains under, so let's say you submit a biochemistry application and it's under CIHR, but you decide to go to another department, as long as your research remains under CIHR, you can move your award to that department. So the selection process and post-award administration is carried out here at McMaster. So, and the awards are not transferable. So if we award you a CGS-M, you can't take it to another university. So what are your next steps? You order your current official fall 2023 transcripts from McMaster, as well as any other university. So, but if you have transcripts from another university that you've used for another application, you can still use those as long as nothing has changed. So if it shows you've graduated and nothing's changed since then, you can still use those transcripts, even though they're not dated for this fall. The only one that should be dated for this fall is the McMaster one if you're currently registered. We suggest you start your CGS-M Canadian Commons CCV. Those take, from what we gather, though, that's takes a long time to complete the CCV, especially if you haven't done it before. Ask your 2 referees to complete the letters of appraisal, and make sure you submit your entire application before the deadline. And just so we're clear here, this is not our deadline, it's a tri-agency deadline. There's no extensions given by the tri-agency. So if you don't submit on time, they will not give you an extension. So we have something called the Central Masters Competition. Awards that are part of this competition include the Canada Graduate Scholarships that we just went through, the Ontario Graduate Scholarship or Queen Elizabeth II Graduate Scholarship in Science and Technology. Those awards are valued at $15,000 for 12 months or $5,000 per term. And there's also the Ontario Graduate Fellowship, which is $12,000, $4,000 per term. Sorry, folks, I'm stuck. There we go. If the students apply, so let's say you apply for CGS-M and you choose McMaster as one of the universities to submit your application to, you automatically get considered for an OGS or a QE2 GSST or an OGF at McMaster. So it's just one application. No additional application is required. So you just automatically get considered for those awards here at McMaster. You can only hold one of those awards. So you can't hold a CGS-M and an OGS at the same time because they're all government funding and the rule is only one. The results are announced April 1st in the portal. There's lots of movement on this list. So if you don't get an award April 1st, there's movement probably till mid-May. So, keep an eye out on the portal. Also, because the OGS is not in the portal, if you get awarded an OGS, you would be notified by email, either by the department or by our office. We have some tips here. So give yourself time, start preparing your application early. Review the 3 selection criteria. So we put a link here, but this, they have it in detail what is under each selection criteria. So you can take a look at, so you can gear your application towards that, and you'll understand what the review committee is looking for. Make sure your application is complete. Provide only what is asked for. So going back to the, research proposal should only be 1 page, just only submit 1 page. And your pages must be 8.5 by 11, and the font size that you submit for your research proposal and your bibliography must be 12 point Times New Roman for those documents. They should be single space. Again, respect page limits as referred to already. Pay close attention to grammar and spelling. Have someone knows you well from your program review proofread your application. And have a friend or relative who knows you, but not necessarily your research review proofread your application. Choose your referees carefully. Assessments should be completed by individuals who are familiar enough with your research and or other abilities that can provide a meaningful commentary. For example, a current or previous academic research supervisor, industrial supervisor, employment/volunteer supervisor, teacher, or thesis advisor. Choose referees who have strong communication skills, and provide referees with all required information, including a list of your research contributions, a copy of your program of study, and the deadline to submit the letter. We suggest, you don't have to do this, it's just a suggestion coming from Diane and I, that you ask your referees to submit by November 24th, so you have some leeway in case they can't submit on time. We suggest you send them a reminder and give them lots of time. It is your responsibility to ensure the references are completed and submitted early enough to allow you to submit your complete application by December 1st. So tips for writing a strong research proposal: carefully read the application instructions regarding the research proposal. Provide the adjudicators with the information they are looking for, no more or less. Applications are reviewed by a cross-disciplinary committee. Write in a clear, concise way, avoiding use of technical jargon so that anyone reading your application will be engaged and understand your proposal. Organize your thoughts logically. Use titles if appropriate for your proposal. Just so you know, we've had feedback from committees that seem to like the titles. If it works for your proposal, titles are a good idea. Make sure you are relating your research to the mandate of the specific award. So, if you're applying to CIHR, ensure that your research is under health, and if it's SHRC, social science and humanities, and INSERC, science and engineering. Emphasize what makes your proposal special, original, and how it will contribute to your specific field of study, and take time to write and rewrite. And that's it for now. I know that we normally at the end of the session, we get a lot of questions. So
yeah.
Diane, do you have any questions yet?
Yeah, I'll pop into the chat here and I'll just read them off and I'll let you take the lead on answering them. Okay.
All right.
All right. So first of all, one of the questions that came up again is, yes, the session's being recorded and the slides will be posted. I have just put a link to our CGS-M webpage into the chat. So feel free to grab it from there. The next question we had is, are you eligible to apply if you are currently doing a 1-year master's?
So the rule of this award is you can't have done more than 12 months of graduate study, but I'm not sure if the question is if you're applying for this year's funding, no, but if you are doing your PhD or another master's next year, you can apply because you haven't done more than 12 months of study as of December 31st of this year. But this application is not for funding for this year.
Is there an internal selection process before our applications are sent, or is that only for CGSD?
Yeah, so for CGS-M, there isn't, because there's external students applying. So there's no internal review prior to December 1st. After December 1st, we take all the applications who chose McMaster as the university they want, one of their universities, and review them here. We have 3 committees, a CIHR, INSERC, and SHRC committees reviewing the applications at that point.
Is there anything we need to submit to McMaster directly, or is everything completed through the portal?
Everything is completed through the portal. You don't need to submit anything to our office or to your department.
How does the reference process work?
No, not me. Sorry.
Sorry, Laylee, could you mute yourself, please? Thank you.
Sorry, Diane, I missed the last question.
Yeah, no worries. How does the reference process work?
So when you go in and complete your application, it asks you to put in the email addresses of your referees, and they get an email with a link. And then they they submit their reference letters that way. Well, it's not a letter, they complete an online reference request there.
Yeah. Do referees need to be professors? Also, is it a maximum of 2?
It is a maximum of 2, and normally they do suggest, I think we had here, hold on, I'm going to go back to the list. They do suggest current or previous academic research supervisor, industrial supervisor, employment or volunteer supervisor, teacher or thesis advisor. They don't suggest another student complete your reference. I think that may be the question, but I'm not sure. If there's another question to that, please put it in the chat.
Yeah. And the question next following that was, so your current supervisor can be a valid reference?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Do you apply specifically for NSERC, CIHR, or SHRC, or will they decide based on your proposal what agency it goes to?
You have to choose which agency you're applying to. If you're unclear, you could talk to your department or email CGS-M directly with your research proposal and ask them where they think it falls under, because we do have some research that's interdisciplinary that can fall, under different agencies. Like there's a lot of psychology and even kinesiology students who have their research that could fall under different agencies, as well as even some from health that can fall under NSERC or CIHR. So if you're having issues determining that, we suggest you contact the department or the agency, the CGS-M directly.
Yeah. Can a first-year PhD student apply for this scholarship?
Only if they're a direct entry. So the rule is, if you have done more than 12 months of study as of December 31st of this year, then you can't apply. So if you were a direct entry into your PhD and started it January 1st of this year or later, you can apply. But if you did a master's before this, I would say no.
Yeah,
but
you can't.
Yeah, if you've done
ever being enrolled in, you can never have been enrolled in a master's.
Sorry?
You can't have been enrolled in any graduate program. It has to be direct entry from bachelor.
Yeah. So someone could have, yes. Yeah. So as long as if you didn't start your grad studies, any grad studies, so master's, your grad studies can't have started before January 1st of this year to be eligible to apply. So the only way as a PhD student is if you're a direct entry and if you're in your first year.
Yeah. If I list other universities through the portal, am I automatically considered for the other awards? And is this only for Canadian universities?
So I'm wondering if she did, I think your other awards are OGS, maybe QE2 and OGF. So yeah. If I understand correctly, I don't know what the other universities do about OGS, QE2, and OGF. You'd have to check with them. It is just McMaster that I can tell you that if you apply to CGS-M, you automatically get considered for the other awards. You'll have to contact the other universities. Did I answer all that, Diane?
And we also, this is only for Canadian universities.
Yes.
The CGS-M.
Yes, correct, yeah.
Were the number quotas at the beginning slides referring to how many you will accept for McMaster?
It's referring to how many awards we have to give out.
So we'll have, we can award the numbers that were given at the beginning. Those are the number of awards that we will have to offer here at McMaster. Do you require electronic copies of official transcripts, or do scanned hard copies work?
Either one is acceptable as long as they're our official transcripts.
Yeah. Some people have difficulties getting the electronic copies to upload. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes it's easier, even if you get an official, if you can print it off. I do believe there's something when you if you save an electronic one to a PDF, like if you print it as a PDF or to a PDF, you'll get a watermark on it, but it says that it is copied from a verified electronic device. That's perfectly fine. So.
Yes, because you can't merge, because transcripts are protected. Until you either scan them or create them as a PDF, like Diane mentioned, you can't merge more than one transcript together.
Yeah. So if you only have McMaster, it's probably not an issue. Yeah. First year direct PhD students can also apply. Yes.
Yes. As long as you haven't done more than 12 months of your PhD as of December 31st of this year.
Yeah. The next question is, how can I contact the CGS-M? So have we got their links on here on the website?
I'll let you do that because I
Yep.
have the presentation.
Yeah, I'll go on to the next question, and what I'll do is I'll just post that contact information in there, okay? So this is sorry, I think my original question may have been unclear. If by December 1st, I would have completed 4 months of my master's program, but it only goes for 12 months, will I still be eligible to apply? No.
So it depends what you're doing the next academic year. So if you apply for the award now, it's for 24-25.
Right.
So you are eligible to apply if you're doing grad school in 24-25. Does that, I think that.
If they were doing another master's, because if they were doing a doctoral, it wouldn't, because they will have done a master's, right?
No, if they've never received a CGS-M, they can still apply. They still have that rule. If you haven't done more than 12 months of study, don't they allow you to? I thought you could, because they haven't done more than 12 months of study. Maybe the student can, if they can clarify if they're going to be in grad school in 24-25, you can put that in the chat so we can understand your question better, maybe.
Okay. I'm a first-year master's student and have the OGS for 2 years. Am I not eligible then to submit an application, even though I will have less than 12 months of study as of December, especially December 31st?
Yeah. So the OGS for 2 years, the OGS is only for 1 year. Sorry, read that again.
I am a first-year master's student and have the OGS for 2 years. Am I not eligible then to submit an application, even though I will have less than 12 months of study as of December 31st?
So I'm not sure. The OGS award is not for 2 years. It's only for 1 year. So if you are currently in your first year of your master's and hold an OGS, you can apply for the CGS-M for the next year for your second year of your master's. Did I understand that? Is that correct, Diane? Did I interpret that correctly?
I think that's how I understand it as well. Yes, because you can't have the OGS for 2 years. But if you have it in your first year, the OGS in your first year, you could apply for the CGS-M for your second year of master's if it's a 2-year master's. Yeah. So next question was, just to make sure I understand, if my student completed master's several years ago and currently started another master's at McMaster with me as their supervisor, they are not eligible for this award.
I'm going to, I don't have it, and I'm going to try to go online. Let me clarify that. Go on, Diane. I'll look this up while you are.
Yeah, no problem. So just here, I'm actually going to be just popping in. I just found this. I put in the contact emails for all 3 agencies for the CGS-M. So there was somebody who asked a few minutes ago how they can contact CGS-M. So there is a separate contact for each agency, and I've just posted them into the chat. Okay. Sorry, let me just go back here. Let me get Purdue. All right. So Tony was just looking up that one. Is it preferred to get references from professors over employers? Yeah, I think we had, Martin's, we've been joined, Martin
Sorry, I'm late.
That's okay. Dr. Martin Horn has joined us from Shirk as he's our Associate Dean of Social Sciences. And I can see him nodding there that yes, those letters are preferred from professors over employers. I don't know if you'd like to speak more to that, Martin.
Yeah, just briefly. Thanks, Diane. I'm actually the Associate Dean, Graduate Studies and Research in the Faculty of Humanities, but I'm also the Shirk leader for the university as a whole. So yes, the answer is definitely an academic. Keep in mind, this is an academic competition, and you should get letters from professors rather than employers. And within the professor category, if possible, you should get full letters from full-time tenured or tenure stream professors, if possible. This is not always an option for everybody, but that is sort of the most desirable kind of letter that you should seek to get. And one other thing, just a point, when you're asking for letters from your professors, don't be hesitant to ask them, are you willing to write me a good letter of reference? Okay?
Yeah.
Thanks, Martin. I did put something in the chat. We had a question earlier about a student who did a master's before.
Right.
So I did just double check the wording, sorry. So it says here, you can't have completed as of December 31st of the year of application. Either between 1 and 12 months of full-time studies or full-time equivalent in the program for which you are requesting funding. So if this is another program and it's a master's program, then they can request funding for it.
Right. Right. Okay.
All right.
Okay, next question was, is the number quota for the awards being given out specific to each department?
Has nothing to do with the department. You're ranked based on your application. So it's ranked by committee, and it doesn't matter what department you're from. The top person is a top person regardless of the department.
Is the research proposal something that I would hope to do for my master's? And what does the bibliography consist of?
So let me answer that. The answer is yes, but of course, adjudicators understand that really in most cases, you're coming out of undergraduate into an MA program. And so that frequently that means that there's not a tremendous amount of specialist in-depth knowledge. And that in turn, given the limitations on the length of what you can put in, means that what you're going to say is probably going to be phrased or couched in quite general terms. And so your bibliography then, you should have one, of course. It should be indicative that you understand the main lineaments in the literature, but no one is expecting that it's going to be comprehensive.
Thanks, Martin. Next question. So we should open an application on the portal now and can then work on it progressively.
Absolutely. Yes. The sooner you start the application, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're applying to different institutions, do you have to submit multiple applications or just one?
Well, multiple. So you can't, if we offer you a CGS-M at McMaster, you can't take it to another school. So I would choose I would submit your CGS-M application to your 3 top schools that you want to go to. And then from there,
Tony,
sorry?
I think, sorry, Tony, to interrupt. I think what they're asking is it one application that goes to all 3 institutions?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, my mistake. Yes,
Yeah.
It is the same application. Thanks, Diane.
Yeah, no worries. So that's a good point that I don't think we touched on is when you're doing your application, don't gear it to McMaster University or U of T. It needs to be generic enough in your research that as it is going to potentially 3 different institutions. All right. If I'm in my first year of master's and I'm planning on transferring to a PhD within the same program in the same institution, does that affect my eligibility for the CGS-M?
No, it does not. Because it says here that you could one of the eligibility says here, if you're in your first year of your master's, you can be in a master's program that will transition to an eligible doctoral program, either before or after. Yeah, so you can definitely apply as long as you don't have more than 12 months of studying your master's as of December 31st.
Yeah. Sorry, did that change? So if you receive the award, is it okay to change your research topic entirely?
Yes, as long as it remains under the same research mandate. So you can change it. If you get a CIHR one, your new research has to stay under CIHR as well with the INSERC and the SHRC. So as long as you don't change your research mandate, you can completely change your research. There is, sorry, I'm just gonna, we do ask that you, I think you have to email us your new research proposal so we can confirm it still falls under the same mandate, and your department will work with you on that.
Yeah. Martin, maybe you can tackle this one here. The next question is, what information should be provided to referees apart from research-related information?
I think that assuming that you don't know your referee especially well, then a basic CV should do the job. You don't need to provide any more information than that. But some indication of what you have done beyond the academic is always helpful. So if you've got a CV that indicates, for example, extracurricular activities, what you've been involved in campus groups or associations and beyond the campus, that's always a helpful thing to provide. A referee may also ask about how you've fared in other courses. And so they may ask, for example, for a grade audit as some indication of if they don't, in particular, if they don't know you well and haven't had you in multiple courses, they may wish to see how you've done broadly before they put together a letter on your behalf.
Thank you. If I want to confirm whether my research falls under NSERC or CIHR, who should I contact?
Touch on this earlier. You can contact the department that you are applying to or that you're a current student in, or you can contact the tri-agency directly to confirm where your research falls under. Diane included the emails in the chat. So yeah, that's the best direction we can give you at this point.
Yeah. That's the last question that I have in the chat at the moment. If anybody else has questions or is looking for more clarification, please feel free to add something in there. I'll keep monitoring it.
Transcripts, just so I know there's no questions right now, just remember, please include your McMaster transcript, even if you started your master's in September. We need that in there. Official transcripts from all universities, but if you have existing transcripts that you used for another application and nothing's changed on that transcript since it's been printed, you can use those transcripts. You don't need to order another one if they're still current.
Yeah. I think another point to reiterate as well, Tony, is about adhering to page limits. Just simply because if you go over, it just gets cut off and you lose the gist of your research. So please be very, very mindful that you adhere to those limits. Martin, is there anything else in kind of general terms that you might want to touch on for these students?
I would just say that it's always worth penning a draft, letting it sit, revisiting it. If you have someone who is expert in the area or is already, for example, in a master's or PhD program, and who's willing to look at it, it never hurts to have another set of eyes to look at a proposal. In particular, it's helpful if you can touch base with someone who has already won a CGS-M or a doctoral award of some kind, since by definition, their effort was successful. So I would just say take time, which Tony and Diane have already indicated. Don't try and do this 12 hours before it's due.
Yeah. Just in case anyone would ask, thank you, Martin. We cannot share, we don't have any applications to share for privacy reasons, but your departments or potential departments may have students who have offered up that information and their willingness to share. So I think that would be your first place to go. I just want to let you know that we're unable to share any successful applications for privacy reasons. So start with your departments. It's a great suggestion, and they might be able to help you out with that. There's another question here. It says, I went on exchange and some of my grades from last year on my transcript are pass-fail. Would they have to go back to most recent semester of 2021?
No, we don't normally do that. We just use the grades that are there. As long as you were registered full-time in the last 2 years, we just use the grades that are there to determine your eligibility.
Yeah. We've got a comment from one of our grad admins. It said, in their department, referees are often willing to help proofread proposals and provide helpful suggestions. So yes, please do not be shy about asking for help.
Thank you, Corrine.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? Just maybe let it sit for another minute or two. And just a reminder, if anybody had come in late, this session is being recorded. The recording and the slide presentation will be posted on our website. And the link to our CGS-M webpage is in this chat. All right, I think, Tony, then we can maybe pull it to a close. What I'll do just quickly is I'm going to pop our email for our scholarships into the chat as well. If anything else comes to mind, please feel free to reach out to us by email and we'll be happy to help you out.
Great. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. I'd like to thank Dr. Martin Horn for taking the time. We always appreciate your help, Martin. Thank you again for sharing your knowledge. And Diane, as always, it's been great doing a presentation with you. And thanks again to all the students and staff and faculty who joined us. As Diane mentioned, if you have any questions, please email graduatesscholarships@mcmaster.ca. Please remember, December 1st, 8 p.m. And it's not our deadline, tri-agency deadline. So make sure you submit your application on time. Okay, thanks, folks. You have a wonderful day.
Bye, everyone.